There are things in your life that you thought you had already overcome, but somehow they still have power over you. A memory can still control your emotions. A person who hurt you years ago can still influence the way you trust. A failure from your past can still whisper that you are not good enough. A disappointment can still make you afraid to hope again. And sometimes the thing holding you back is not what is happening around you today, but what happened to you yesterday. But hear this clearly. God did not bring you this far so that your past could continue controlling your future. There comes a moment when you have to stop trying to fix everything by yourself and say, Lord, I surrender this to you. Break every chain that still has power over me. There are things in your life that you have carried for far too long. Things you thought you had released, yet somehow they still have a voice in your mind, a weight in your heart, and an influence over your decisions. Maybe it is a painful memory, a broken relationship, a past mistake, rejection, disappointment, fear, resentment, or the words someone spoke over you years ago. You may have moved forward physically, but emotionally you may still be standing in the same place. Today, God is calling you to surrender what still controls you to Him. Surrender does not mean pretending that the pain never happened. It does not mean denying your emotions or acting as though everything is fine. Surrender means acknowledging that you cannot carry this burden forever and trusting God enough to place it into His hands. You have tried to understand it. You have replayed it in your mind. You have asked why it happened and what you could have done differently. But there comes a moment when you must stop allowing yesterday to control today. God knows exactly what has been holding you back. He knows the memory that still makes you cry. He knows the person whose name still changes your emotions. He knows the failure that makes you question yourself. He knows the disappointment that caused you to stop expecting good things. Nothing about your struggle is hidden from Him. He sees the parts of your heart that you have never explained to anyone else. Maybe you have become attached to something God is asking you to release. Sometimes we hold on to pain because it feels like the last connection we have to what happened. We think that forgiving means what happened was acceptable, but forgiveness is not approval. Forgiveness is freedom. It is choosing not to allow another person's actions to control your peace any longer. You can release someone without inviting them back into your life. You can forgive without forgetting the lesson. You can move forward without carrying anger into every new season. You may also need to surrender your need for control. You want to know how everything will work out. You want every question answered before you take another step. You want guarantees before you trust. But faith does not always give you a complete map. Sometimes faith simply gives you enough light for the next step. God may not reveal the entire journey because He wants you to learn to trust the one who is leading you. There are moments when surrender feels frightening because you have become comfortable with what is familiar. Even when what is familiar is painful, you know how to live with the old fear. You know how to protect yourself from disappointment. You know how to expect the worst. But God is calling you into a different way of living. He wants you to stop building your identity around what happened to you and start building it around who He says you are. Your past may have wounded you, but it does not have to rule you. Your mistakes may have taught you difficult lessons, but they do not have the authority to decide your future. Your rejection may have closed one door, but it does not mean every door is closed. Your disappointment may have changed your plans, but it does not mean God has abandoned His purpose for your life. Surrender the need to prove yourself. You do not need to convince everyone of your worth. You do not need to chase people who refuse to recognize your value. You do not need to keep returning to places where you constantly have to beg for acceptance. When you understand that your worth comes from God, you become less controlled by people's opinions. Surrender the bitterness that has been quietly draining your strength. Every time you replay an offense, you give the past another opportunity to occupy your present. Give that pain to God. Tell Him exactly how you feel. You do not need perfect words. You simply need an honest heart. Say, Lord, this still hurts. I cannot carry it anymore. I give it to you. Then trust Him with the healing process. Healing may not happen in one emotional moment. Sometimes God heals gradually, one thought at a time, one memory at a time, one decision at a time. Be patient with yourself while God works within you. Do not mistake slow healing for failure. Every step away from the thing that controlled you is progress. Today, choose surrender over struggle. Choose faith over fear. Choose God's direction over your need to control every outcome. Whatever still has power over you, place it before God. Your pain belongs in His hands. Your future belongs in His hands. Your identity belongs in His hands. You do not have to be controlled by what happened yesterday when God is inviting you to trust Him with what happens next. Trust God to heal your past and lead you forward. There are seasons in life when the past feels louder than the future. You remember what happened. You remember who hurt you. You remember what you lost. And those memories can make you afraid to believe that something better is still possible. You may look at your life and see the scars of yesterday, but God does not look at you and see only your scars. He sees the person you are becoming. He sees possibilities where you see limitations. He sees restoration where you see brokenness. He sees a future where you are still staring at the past. Healing begins when you stop believing that your past has the final word. What happened to you was real, and you do not have to minimize the pain in order to move forward. But pain is an experience, not an identity. A difficult chapter is not the entire story. The person who rejected you does not determine your value. The mistake you made does not determine your destiny. The opportunity you lost does not mean your best days are behind you. God is still capable of writing something beautiful with your life. Sometimes we ask God to change our circumstances when He first wants to change what those circumstances have done inside us. We want Him to erase the memory, but He wants to heal the wound. We want Him to bring back what we lost, but He may be preparing us to receive something different. We want an explanation for why something happened, but God may be teaching us to trust Him even when we do not have every answer. You cannot always understand God's process while you are living through it. There may be days when you feel like nothing is changing. There may be moments when you wonder whether you will ever feel whole again. But healing often happens quietly. God can be working beneath the surface long before you see evidence on the outside. A seed grows underground before it becomes visible. In the same way, God can be strengthening your heart, renewing your mind, and rebuilding your confidence during seasons that seem completely still. Do not rush the work God is doing inside you. Give yourself permission to heal. Give yourself permission to grieve what you lost. Give yourself permission to admit that something hurt. You do not have to pretend to be strong every moment. True strength is not refusing to acknowledge pain. True strength is bringing your pain to God and trusting Him to transform it. There may be memories you cannot erase, but God can change the power those memories have over you. One day you may remember what happened without being destroyed by it. You may talk about the past without feeling trapped inside it. You may look at the person you used to be and realize that God carried you through what you once believed would destroy you. That is what healing can look like. It does not always mean forgetting. Sometimes it means remembering without breaking. It means understanding that what happened was part of your story, but not the definition of your life. It means being able to look backward without needing to live backward. God may also be asking you to stop waiting for the past to become different. You cannot change yesterday, but you can surrender tomorrow. You cannot make someone become the person you needed them to be. You cannot force an old relationship to become healthy. You cannot return to a moment and make a different decision. But you can choose what you will do with your life now. You can choose to forgive. You can choose to learn. You can choose to grow. You can choose to trust again. You can choose to take another step. You can choose to believe that God's plans for you are bigger than the chapter that hurt you. Sometimes moving forward requires you to walk away from what keeps reopening the wound. You may have to stop checking on what God told you to release. You may have to stop revisiting conversations that cannot change anything. You may have to stop seeking validation from people who have already shown you that they cannot give it. Moving forward requires courage because the future is unfamiliar. But familiar pain is not safer simply because you already know it. Trust God enough to follow Him into unfamiliar places. If He closes a door, do not spend your entire life trying to force it open. If He removes something from your life, ask Him what He wants to teach you through the empty space. If He redirects your path, do not assume that you are lost. Sometimes a change in direction is God's protection. Your future does not need permission from your past. You are allowed to become someone different. You are allowed to become wiser, stronger, more peaceful, and more confident. You are allowed to stop repeating patterns that once controlled you. You are allowed to believe again. When fear tells you that you will always be the same, answer it with faith. When your memories tell you that your best days are gone, remind yourself that God is not finished with you. When disappointment tells you to stop hoping, choose to trust again. God can take the broken pieces of your past and use them to build a stronger foundation for your future. He can teach you through what you survived. He can give purpose to what once seemed meaningless. He can turn your wounds into wisdom and your testimony into encouragement for someone who is still walking through the darkness you have already survived. You do not have to know exactly where God is leading you. You only need to trust the one who knows the way. Take the next step. Release the old fear. Put down the regret. Stop carrying yesterday into every conversation, every relationship, and every opportunity. Let God heal what happened, renew what was damaged, and lead you toward what is next. Your past may have shaped you, but it does not have to control you. Your future is not determined by your worst moment. God is still working, still guiding, still restoring, and still calling you forward. Trust Him with the healing. Trust Him with the timing. Trust Him with the next chapter. So pray this from your heart. Lord, break everything that still has unhealthy power over me. Break every chain of fear, bitterness, shame, regret, resentment, and insecurity. Heal the places I have hidden. Free me from the people, memories, habits, and thoughts that keep pulling me backward. Give me courage to release what you are asking me to release. Give me faith to trust what you are building in my life. I surrender my past, my pain, my plans, and my future into your hands. I no longer want to be controlled by what happened to me. I want to be led by you. And when God begins to break those chains, do not run back to pick them up. Walk away. Keep walking. There is a new chapter ahead of you. The past may explain where you have been, but it does not determine where you are going. God is still writing your story. And what He has prepared for you does not require you to remain imprisoned by what He is trying to break. Let Him break it. Let Him heal it. Let Him restore you. Let Him lead you. And above all, trust Him enough to believe that when God removes something from your hands, it is not always because He wants to take something from you. Sometimes He is making your hands empty so that they can finally receive what He has been preparing for you.